Some people train in martial arts for the moment, others dedicate their entire lives to it. And today, you're about to meet one of those lifelong warriors. Kim Platt is the owner of Pure Karate in New Jersey and a true martial artist at heart. She's not just someone who teaches techniques, she lives and breathes the martial arts lifestyle every single day. Like myself, Kim has dedicated her life to this path, and over the years, I've had the privilege of meeting her multiple times at competitions. Each time, I was reminded not only of her skill, but her professionalism, her humility, and her commitment to growing the martial arts community. In this episode of Kumite Lifestyle, Kim shares her journey, her passion for teaching, and the mindset it takes to stay committed to the martial arts for a lifetime. Her story is one of perseverance, leadership, and the drive to leave a lasting impact. So get ready, because this isn't just about karate, it's about a heart of a martial artist, the spirit of competition, and the inspiration that comes from living your craft every single day. Let's get into it with Kim Platt. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Kumite Lifestyle. And today I'm super excited to have on Kim Platt. Kim is a martial artist and someone that, like myself, I've grown up competing, and I've had a chance to see Kim win numerous times over the years. And now she runs a very successful karate academy in New Jersey. So, Kim, thank you so much for being on. And I love the Pure MMA hoodie that you're rocking right now.
Yeah, I had to rep it. No, I appreciate it. I was really excited when I got your message because as we were just saying, we've known each other for a long time,
Yeah,
but very rarely do we get to connect outside of just being at a tournament. Like, hey, how are you? Good, and move
for,
on.
for sure. That's one, and like that's some of the downsides of competing, because as athletes and even as coaches and senseis, we're there for a specific mission, especially on game day. But I feel like there's never enough time allotted for us to connect, or just, instructors just in general. I know there's the after party at the Hall of Fame, but it's not the
Still
same
a lot's going on.
for sure.
You still have your
So
students. You still have your
so much
team with you.
responsibility.
Your
Yep.
everyone's with you, and you want to be able to go have dinner or hang out with
Absolutely.
them a little bit, so you don't get to connect definitely as much as you need to.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So, because we're here connecting and I have your time today, let's kind of backtrack. So, I know you've been doing martial arts for a while and you've won so many awards and you've placed, like I said, but let's start from the beginning. So, when did you first start martial arts, Kim?
I started in 2003. My
Perfect.
sister actually started first. And then I don't really remember how I got started, just because I'm sure she was doing it. She did it for a few years before me. And then I jumped in there. So I started when I was 5, under Hanshi Carmona. I'm still under him, in New Jersey.
Yep.
And that brings me to where I am. I mean, started all the way 22 years ago, 23 years ago.
Wow, that's awesome. It's just been a lifelong pursuit, right? Now,
Lifelong pursuit.
for sure, did you ever feel like from the time you started, I mean, no one can, I mean, we can't, I mean, sure, we can kind of predict the future, but we don't know what it's going to be. So when did you know, like, all right, this is my calling. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Like, when did that
Yeah,
happen?
it wasn't really my plan. So I actually have all the way up to a master's degree,
Nice.
in terrorism and counterterrorism and homeland security.
Same.
So yeah, there you go.
That's
So
awesome.
it wasn't really the plan. I was working, as I got older, and like 2019 is when I started my karate program. But I was working in a day program for adults with disabilities, teaching them like job coaching, life skills, how to count money, how to be, a member of society,
Sure.
to the best that they could,
Sure.
coaching through different job careers or, um, you know, finances, all that good stuff. And then I was working that job, still going to college, all the way through until 2020. So it wasn't really the plan. I was teaching, at Hanshi Carmona School, but it wasn't the plan really to go that route.
Yeah.
But eventually, it was like, what up? This taking up my time, which was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was taking up my time, it was taking up my energy. So in 2020, I ended up perfect timing. I left my job in January of 2020 and went to martial arts.
Very similar story. So in January 2020, myself, 3 months before the whole world shut down, Master
Yep.
Rigby had just retired. And so just a little backstory. So Kim and I both do martial arts, but more specifically, we do Isshin Karate. So Hanshi Carmona is based out of New Jersey, and my instructor, Master Rigby, is also Isshin, and very similar. They were also Ishnu Hall of Fame board member. So that's another connection that we have too. But yeah, like yourself, when Master Rigby retired, that's when so now I train with Sensei Steel and we're under Master B lineage. I became a full-time martial artist, so I'm interested to kind of pick your brain on what that's been like as we kind of gravitate more towards this discussion. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so kind of just fell in your lap in a sense because you're already doing something that you love, and clearly Hanshi Carmona saw a huge potential in you, and I think that's been it. I mean, I'm assuming that because otherwise, I mean, I'm sure he gave you his blessing, and then you're like, all right, let's go with it. And just to
Absolutely.
just to clarify, I don't have a master's in Homeland Security. I have an associate, so I don't want the viewers to think that I'm lying there. But no, I think that's awesome that you
They're
pursued
fact
that
checking
route.
you.
Yeah, for sure, because people do that nowadays, you know. Uh, awesome. So January 2020, right? You now become a head sensei, right? So explain what that was like because it's been 5 years now, and I just got so like in a recent podcast I did, the owner of a jiu-jitsu school, he was saying like he wears so many different hats. So I wonder like, is that, the case for you? Like, what was that like in the beginning, and how has that
Absolutely.
transcended?
Yep. So I started my program in September of 2019. Didn't end up leaving my job until January of 2020. But I actually started off of, I met the guys, Andy and Mikey, over at Pure.
Yep.
Someone had posted on a Facebook group local to us that Pure had canceled their birthday party and they were really frustrated with them. So at the time, I was teaching birthday parties at New Jersey Martial Arts under with Hachi, and I was teaching a couple days a week, doing the birthday parties on the weekend. So Shihan Carmona, Kelly Carmona,
Yep.
was like, "Hey, I'm going to reach out to them and say we can do this birthday party for free." So I actually invited those people to do the birthday party for free. Didn't think anything of it. We just kind of, I mean, it happens all the time, right? You see something on Facebook, you respond to it. Very rarely does anything fantastic come out of it.
Sure.
Um, but we reached out to Pure and said, hey, it looks like maybe you're out of a birthday party instructor. I teach martial arts birthday parties. You're like 15 minutes from me. Are you looking for an instructor? And they were like, yeah, we're looking, come on down, let's meet. So I did like two birthday parties for them, and they had a Taekwondo program that was going at the time, and they were splitting ways with them. And they were left with a girl who was basically a 16-year-old girl who was still in high school trying to do the karate, do the Taekwondo. So for a few months, I just did birthday parties, and they were like, no, we're not really looking for a karate program. We're kind of just going to let Taekwondo do its thing and just go from there.
Yeah.
And then eventually they were like, hey, listen, I don't think the Taekwondo is working out. Would you want to do karate with us? So we transitioned some of the kids. So in the first 10 days, we ended up with like 50 kids on the mat.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it worked out really well. And that transitioned into hundreds of kids on the mat.
That's that's crazy, right? How like that one moment, I think we call it the domino effect, right? And um, again, it's no surprise because it's great that you kind of took that opportunity based on something that you're already doing, which was birthday parties. So you used that as an opportunity to kind of expand, if you will. So that's awesome. So explain about your facility. So what is so like I see so I know that Pure MMA also does jujitsu, Muay Thai, karate. So
Yep.
what does that encompass? So like is it three different like specific programs or is it kind of like a merger? So like if I were to walk into your school, how would you like what would be the best sell? Like
Yeah.
meaning
So they can participate in any of our programs.
love it.
Yeah. They start with like a base program and then they can add jujitsu or Muay Thai or vice versa. They do jujitsu, they can do karate. Um, so we have that. We actually have two locations. We just opened one in the end of July in Booton. So we have two locations, our headquarters and then our like annex location. So
Awesome.
same thing there. They do no Muay Thai, but they do jiu-jitsu and karate for kids and adults.
Very cool. And I mean, obviously it's a testament to the fact that you're, teaching karate and it's been a huge success, but do you feel like in today's age, karate is still very strong, maybe compared to like jujitsu and its other counterparts?
I definitely think it's strong. I think jiu-jitsu currently is a big really blew up. I
Oh
think
yeah,
you know that too because you're in the jujitsu
for sure.
community too. I
Yep.
think jujitsu is definitely blowing up. I think that karate's right there with it still.
Yeah. I think it's all about how it's presented and how it's taught because I mean, the way that we frame it for our students is, when it comes to self-defense, I don't care if it's jiu-jitsu, karate, judo, if it works, I want to know it. So I think just having that
Yeah, we
mindset
do
there for
the
sure.
same thing. I
Yep.
always tell the kids the best martial art is a little bit of everything.
Yep.
You
And you,
can't just choose one and say, jujitsu's the best.
yep, I
Well,
agree.
until a punch gets thrown at you, or karate's the best until you end up on the ground.
Yep.
You know,
And the best way I always say that to the kids is like watch a UFC fight because it doesn't it starts standing, but it always goes to the ground at some point. So yeah, just being able to have that balance, if you will. So that's great that Pure MMA offers that, for the student base. Cool. So aside from teaching, I also know that you're an avid traveler and you've competed in some of the biggest competitions around. So let's kind of dive there. So going back in time, 2002, I believe, or three.
2003.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, yeah. So when did because competing is also a huge facet of karate. I mean, let's be real. I mean, because anyone that's watched Karate Kid kind of, got that inspiration
Yeah,
maybe early on. But when did you decide to start competing? Was that something that you wanted to do? Was that kind of like did your instructor say, "Hey, we offer competition. I think you should do it." Like, how did that start?
yeah. Once a year, he does like a shiai, and it was
Yep.
just an inter school like tournament. And I always joke with the kids, like I really stunk back in the day. Not that I'm everything now, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but for a long time, I really was not the best. I mean, I rarely won. I could usually rely on Kumite to at least place in, but
Yep.
for a long time, weapons and kata, it was pretty much a no place
Yeah.
for a long time. So I would go and I would do them. I wasn't. I mean, I was around. I was doing them. I wouldn't say I was anything spectacular as a kid.
Yeah.
And then in 2013, we went to the IWK,
Word.
which is the World Championships.
Yeah.
And I was 16 that year. They happened to lower the age for grands from 18 to 16. It was the only year that they did it. So I had won my sparring division, and then I had my earned my showdown, my black belt, 1 month before. I was 16,
Yeah.
and I ended up in grands with people who were, well, you know what grands like,
Hmm.
people who are 30s, 40s, 50s, people who are eighth degree black belts, people who are second degree, and there I was like just earned my black belt, super
Yeah.
young
Mhm.
kid, basically, at 16.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I ended up winning that, and then I think that's when I started to be in the thick of it.
Sure.
Right, I started to place more in kai. I started to place more in weapons. Started to continue in kumite. So I think that's really where the launching point was.
Yeah. No, it's cool. So like it just took that consistency and like that one moment to realize like, all right, like I can do this, and you know, I feel like that can be tough to bounce back from, even from an instructor standpoint, we watch our students, they train so hard and I mean you can do great in the training room, but can that translate over, into the competition? And one of the biggest things that I always tell my students is when you get to the venue, especially like let's say Gatlinburg, if you've never been there, go to the convention center, visit it, just get yourself familiar with the environment. So that way it's at least
Absolutely.
it's one less thing you have to worry about. But, I think it's pretty profound. And, thank you for being vulnerable and saying that you didn't have that early success early on. And, that can be a tipping point because people be like, man, screw this. I don't want to do this. But like for you though, like, did you have that choice or did you feel like you had to compete because you're like, like I might not be good at it now, but I do enjoy it. So what kind of gave you that fuel?
Yeah, I think the flash in the pan, the people who are naturally really, really good and don't have to work hard, rarely last.
For
Whether
sure.
it's jujitsu, karate, judo, any martial art, anything
Yeah.
in life, really.
Yeah.
People who don't have to work that hard, they're the flash in the pan. They're really good. They don't know what it's like to work really hard. They quit.
Yeah.
Right? The people who have to put in the time, the effort, and really, really try, even if they don't win, those are the people that are around forever.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure you
And
see it too.
oh yeah, for sure, because there's so many people just in Ishner alone, I mean, let's look at the Hall of Fame. I mean, like over the past just 10 years, maybe 5 years, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of great athletes come and go, and I get it, life happens, but I mean, you're spot on about, when you have to work for it more and then you get what you're desiring, it means a lot more for sure. Because I was always envious of the folks that could literally just hop off the couch and go win a tournament. I'm like, bro, how are you doing that? I mean, I want to say like I'm pretty athletic in a sense, but I mean, like you, I had to work. I mean, it's easy to post a picture or look at people's highlight reel and say, man, like they have it made, but like no, we don't.
It
Like
means more, right? It means more when you have to work for it.
absolutely,
When you don't have to work for it, it's just,
yeah, it's just another day,
nothing. Just another day for you,
But
another
yeah,
trophy.
yeah. And I remember specifically, Kim, I can't remember what year it was, but I think you had got maybe second or third, and like I remember watching you and just the way you carried yourself. I mean, it was always that champion mentality. It's like, all right, I didn't get it this time, but I will next time. And then when I saw you win, and whether it was in person or, a picture, I'm like, damn, like that's resilience, man. She just stuck with it, and I think that's
I
what you,
appreciate it.
of course, and like
I think
that's what,
the same for you. I think that I was looking back and I was thinking, what I remember about you is, well, I remember you winning, but
yeah, yeah.
but you were always, even when we were teens or younger,
Hmm.
always shaking hands, always in the thick of it, always so respectful, and that's more than a tournament is worth.
For
Your
sure.
character, your integrity. That yeah, you lost, but I never saw you crying or complaining. Or how many
Yeah.
times have you been there and maybe a call didn't go your way and you were confident it
It's
was going
so
your way,
arbitrary, man.
and it
It's
was, you're like, this is me, I got it 100%, and then
yeah.
you look and every flag's against you,
Hmm.
right? And the people that I never saw you once complain or throw a fit, or you were just like, you know what, took it on the chin and
Yeah.
move on.
Thank you. Yeah. And, same vice versa. And I guess that's the pros and cons of competition. It's like when you're winning, everything feels good, even when you see your students win. But I always felt some type of way when like my name was called, whether I placed in the top four. But then I always look back and I see the people that didn't place. I'm like, dude, that feeling has to be mortifying. It's like I can't even
Yeah,
comprehend like like they put in the time. I can assume, I don't know. But, I'm talking about like even the highest levels like AAU or like, USA and KF or even, IWKA. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, it's it's a mixed bags of emotions, you win and then you see
for
people
sure.
lose. And I think that's the only downside, for kids too. And like, I want to kind of pick your brain. How do you feel about participation medals? You know?
I'm not pro participation medal.
Yeah.
I think it's a lesson for kids to learn that you're not going to win every time.
Yes,
And even though karate's individual, you're on that mat doing, competing yourself, you're still part of the team. You work with these people, and if you see someone from your team that wins, you should be just as happy for them
I
as
agree.
you are for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think participation medals are valuable because you're just teaching everybody, I'm going to get something for doing maybe not my best.
Yeah.
It takes the sweetness away when you actually do win.
For sure. And like if you're handing a kid a participation medal, the same medal that, like we get if we place, it's like, okay, great. I got a medal for actually winning and you got a medal for just for showing up. And like I've seen some of these participation medals and they're like dope. I'm like, dang, man, I wish I had got that medal instead, you know?
It's nicer than the ones I've won.
Exactly, But yeah, I'm in the same boat again. It's kind of more on the sidelines of, political nonsense, I feel, but it is what it is. I mean, if it gets people coming and at the end of the day, I guess these promoters need to make money. So unfortunately, if that's how they have to do it. Again, I'm not a promoter. I've never promoted a tournament, so maybe I would feel different. I don't know, but I'm a firm believer like sometimes you got to take those L's, and you got to take it like a
Yeah,
champ. But
grow from it.
yeah, for sure. So, um, moving forward, so you've competed at some of the big events for sure, but what was that? And you kind of already said it, when you placed when you were I think 16, but
Mhm.
when did you really start like what was that aha moment like, all right, like I can do this now. Like not that you ever had that doubt, but like moving forward, like when did you kind of start becoming a lot more confident? Because I see that in you and I see it in your students, but that doesn't happen overnight. I mean, you can say be confident, do this or that, but either you have it or you don't. But when did you feel like I got this now?
Yeah, I would say 2013,
Yeah.
when I when I won it, I was like, all right, maybe I'm better than I thought I was.
For sure.
So won, and then pretty much from there, I mean,
Excuse
I
me.
was actively competing and going all the way through up until very recently. So I don't know if you know, I'm sure you saw me limping around last time. I
Oh
tore
yeah.
my ACL last year. So I'm 3 knee surgeries deep for the year. So competition kind of took a step back.
Yeah.
But I said, in a way, for my students, it might be better for them because I want people, and I think it's tough, you being young too and competing, that sometimes you get put in a box of you're just a good competitor, right? You're a good competitor. That's what they see. Nick, they see competitor.
Hmm.
They see Kim, they see competitor.
Yeah.
I want them to see that I'm more than just a good competitor. You're more than just a good competitor. You're a coach. You can coach your students. You're a sensei. You're a lot to a different, group. For those kids on the mat, you know, you're their therapist when they're having a bad day. You're their, comfort. You're their teacher. You're their support, encouragement. So I think it might have been a good thing, not a good thing, but it maybe put a different light on that. Hey, you know what? She's a good teacher. She's got students that are good. She's got a school that's good.
Yeah.
It put me in a different box, I think.
For sure. And I I love how you mentioned therapists because that's what we are sometimes, and whether we signed up, for it or not, I mean, I see the relationship that you have with your students, especially at the Hall of Fame, and you guys are such a, tight-knit community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many days are they on the mat that they had a bad day or they had a great day,
Hmm.
right? And they want to come in and they want to tell you
Yeah,
about the day they had, whether it was good, bad, the new stuff they got, it's their birthday. You're a lot more than just I'm on the mat teaching a class
I
to them.
agree. Yeah, so now that you're teaching, what's your mindset when you're teaching, let's say, the brand new, 3-year-old white belt to maybe a 30-year-old adult?
Yeah, I mean, so we break our classes out by age groups.
Excuse
So
me, I'm sorry.
no problem. A lot of people don't work with, we start at 3. So I have a little 3 to 5 year old age group. I think that's my favorite one
Yeah.
because I think people don't realize how smart they are and how much they pick up.
Oh my goodness, they're like little sponges.
You could tell them here it is in Japanese, and they're repeating it better in Japanese than you are, you
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
and they remember everything you tell them. So I think that's my favorite age group. But we have all the way up till people in their 70s,
Hmm.
and for them it's mental. It's they like it because yeah, it's physical and they're getting a workout and they're hitting the bag, but mentally it makes them engage.
Yeah, for sure. And I love how you said like it's always the little ones that always bring, like great entertainment value, and I had this conversation with Sensei Steele because like teaching kids can be tough. Teaching adults can be tough too. But, the reality is it's all about expectations. And if I expect a 3-year-old to stand like an adult, I'm going to be disappointed every time. So it's not giving them free reign because I mean, kids are going to do whatever they want, but it's just being there and just letting them know like, hey, I'm here to teach you. And it's also nice having supportive parents. So we have a very similar program for ages 3 to 5. It's called the Matt Munchkins, and it's through the Grace University program. And their parents are out on the mat actually with
That's
them
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at first I wasn't like, I don't know about that, but then it's actually like, no, this makes a lot of sense because now I have 5 to 6 other adults on the mat with me, and they're managing their own kid, where I'm just more of like I'm giving instructions, I'm teaching them
Yeah.
techniques, making it fun, but that's in like you,
And
that's
it
my
gives them
favorite
something to do
class
together.
for sure. Yep,
Yeah.
and it also is like a low key selling point for the adults because they realize like, oh, like I can do this too as well.
Yeah, we have a lot of parents that do it with their kids, like separately. They join the adult class after their kid,
Yep.
started. And they just, it gives them something to talk about and it gives them something they could do together. And it's pretty funny sometimes to see like the kid's a brown belt and their parents a white belt. And
Uh-huh.
they're like, no, 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 that's not how you throw a punch. No, 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 that's not how the roles are reversed for them.
Yep. Yeah, because it's like their moment to kind of get like, get back at their parents, I guess. That's
That kick
awesome.
stunk.
No, that's awesome. What have been some of your, because I'm just trying to like, I'm just thinking out loud because you mentioned, teaching 3-year-olds. So when you're teaching class, right? And I've had this talk with other instructors, it can be kind of fear-based because you're also teaching in front of parents. I can share a quick story. When I was 16 and I maybe 15, I just got my black belt under Master Rigby, and teaching was something that I always thought was pretty cool because I mean, like how like I always thought the red and white belt was awesome. I always
Yeah.
thought the red belt was cool. I said, you know what, like one day I'm going to get there. So, anyways, I remember Master Rigby asked me to teach a group of green belts, and they were probably like 6 to 8 years old, and they're learning Shinto. So maybe a little bit older, maybe like 9 or 10, I don't know. But they were kids, so there was like 10 of them. And Master Rigby's dojo before he retired was a huge um huge wooden floor. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and they're all kind of like by the edge of the floor, and then you have the parents. So naturally my back is turned because I wanted to, focus on the kids. But the whole time, Kim, I'm like thinking like, man, these parents probably think I suck. They're probably thinking like what is this kid doing? So that's going through my mind the whole time. And they get done Shinto and I'm like, all right, do it again. Do it again. And that 10 minutes felt like an hour. Then to make it worse, I see Master Rigby on the other side of the dojo.
Then you're really fearful.
Oh, for sure. And like I feel like he's looking at me and I'm like, I'm not gonna look at him, but I know he's like, making eye contact. Again, I'm looking at the clock. I'm worried about the kids. I'm worried about him, the parents. Finally, he says, Yame, so we bow out. So then I go up to Master Ruby. I said, hey Sensei, um, how do you think I did? He was like, with what? I said, with teaching. He's like, I don't like fine. Like I was watching everybody
I
else.
wasn't looking at you.
Yeah, so I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" So that, but that was a profound moment for me. I'm thinking, oh, like a lot of the things that we have in our heads, especially with like our insecurities and our fears, especially when people are watching. Now, I don't care if it's 50 parents or 5 parents. I'm there for the kids, and they've already
Absolutely.
made that investment and they trust us as instructors. So I'm curious, did you ever have moments like that, maybe in the beginning?
Oh, for sure. So the same thing. I was teaching when I was 16, 15, and you're a kid. So I always thought, I wonder what these people think that here's this kid
Yeah,
teaching other kids. Or
exactly.
even I was doing an adult class at that time too. Like here's a 16-year-old kid that's teaching a 50-year-old, father of three. You know, what are they thinking? But I definitely, as I became older, it's a personality driven business.
So true.
I shouldn't say business, but business, right? That
Yeah.
if they like your personality, if they like you, I don't think it doesn't matter what you're teaching.
Yep.
People will follow you and people will listen to you and respect you for doing that. And I think now I realize the parents are there for drop your kid off. They like the structure. They like,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff more than what I'm teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, because the hardest sell is just getting the students through the door. And like once they're there and once they're sold, it's like great. Because people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I think that's a great point that you
Yes.
mentioned. Because you can have all the medals, all the championships, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything. Because you can't take it with you when you die. But I think what people will remember you is how you ultimately treated them. So that's pretty cool. So your school, how does that work in conjunction with Hanshi Carmona? Do you guys collab a lot? Because I know you brought in like, some, recent guests as far as like seminars.
Mhm.
So how do you keep your students motivated aside from yourself, of course, but what do you do that's kind of like the outlook of bringing in or enhancing their training?
Yeah, we collab all the time. So I still train with him like 2 to 3 times a week, in
Love
the
it.
mornings or at nighttime when I'm done with class. Like we have a black belt class that I go to, but 100% we're entwined very closely still.
Very cool.
So like we have a tournament team that we collab on, and once a month we do tournament team once a week, but once a month, his students and my students get together and we do a tournament team on a Saturday. So all the people at my school are friends with his kids, students, all the students at his school. We're just one team. So
For sure.
definitely closely intertwined on it. Yeah, we had Terry Kramer come in August
Yeah.
and do a sparring seminar. So I think if you're bringing someone in, you have to know that they're the real deal.
Yeah,
That
for sure.
they're gonna give your students something to think about.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think in the older generation of people, not so much our generation of karateka, it's very closed off, or it can be
Yeah.
closed off.
Yeah.
You have your instructor, that's your instructor. You don't look at anybody else. You don't have anybody else come in. I think it's a very old school mentality.
I
Whereas I
I
think our generation is more, you know what? This person knows more than I do. They're really good. They're excellent instructor. Let's get them in and see what they can give our students.
Yeah, so true. And I think that old school mindset, Kim, comes from a scarcity mindset because they're afraid that they're going to lose students if they bring in someone else. And it's so ass backwards, in my opinion, because I mean, kids now can just go to Instagram and TikTok and they can watch a tutorial from a random blue belt or purple belt, let's just say, and it doesn't even have to be a world champion. So if you're worried about, someone coming in who might be better, like, no, you should be worried, if anything, be worried about your students going on Instagram and learning a technique. You're right, and then coming in
Absolutely.
trying to teach it. But no, I think that's
But you can't
awesome.
be the best. You can't be the best at everything. And I think you're right. They're scared. What if this person's better than me at
Yeah,
something? That's
yeah,
okay. There's no way that everyone is the best at everything.
yeah,
Everyone has their own strengths. So why not expose them to someone who's very good, is very good, that can teach you something?
yeah, for sure. And especially from competitors, because not that you're going to get exposed, but the truth's going to come out at some point. It's like, oh, like maybe my instructor was good back then, but now they're just a coach. I mean, you could walk into the Ishmael Hall of Fame or any tournament, and you're going to see athletes better than you. And I mean, and like your students, like they're smart enough to know, like, wow, that person's good. That person's like, not so good. So
Right.
I think just being vulnerable in that sense, because when you're real with them, they're gonna follow you regardless. And I love how you said like it's the personality driven type industry. Like once they believe in you and you're just upfront with them, it's
They'll
a
follow you.
for sure. And it doesn't matter if you're the best or not because they know that your word is everything. And in life, that's all we have is our word. So if you're gonna start off kind of with that shallow mindset or lying to your students, it's going to come out, and I've read articles, I've listened to other podcasts how, sometimes so the difference between like a group or a cult or it's very, it's a
Fine
fine
line.
line. Yeah, for sure, and we see that sometimes in the martial arts industry as a whole and like I don't know. I mean, I think just being upfront and just saying like, hey, I don't know everything, but I know this. Like I tell people all the time, like I'm good at martial arts, but I'm not good at and but most other things I'm not that great at.
Yeah, but you know what? You know someone that is, and you can say, listen, this person might be
Yep,
a better fit for this particular activity than I am.
for sure. I agree there.
But
So
even with like the teaching wise, I think this generation of instructors, like we play games, we make it fun. I play music in class.
yep.
That was not seen, right? Like I can't
Wasn't a
recall. I
thing.
mean, Hachi always played music, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but other people, they're like, oh, even now today, like I'll go and I'll present somewhere. I've done a couple like seminars where I'm teaching how to teach kids martial arts,
Yeah.
and I have my speaker and I have like toys I'm giving to the kids after class, and they're like, "You play music? You
Like,
do
yeah.
that?" I'm like,
I'm like,
"Yeah,
yeah.
of course I do." You
Yeah,
play games? Yeah, heck yeah, I do.
yeah, because you got to give the people what they want, and you kind of have to evolve as time evolves too, because we do something very similar. So we play games that are, very much based around martial arts, and especially for the kids, like they don't. So like we call it games, but they don't realize that they're learning jujitsu or karate because they just see it
Right.
as a fun activity. And then, when parents reinforce the idea, and then as instructors, we're given that positive reinforcement, I think, yeah, they definitely I just feel like they're sold on that too. But going back to what you said about that old school mentality, it's like, I mean, I was never around in Master Rigby's heyday, like the '80s when he was teaching, but I've heard stories, and I'm sure Hanshi Carmona has told you like similar. But that old school mentality, it doesn't fly anymore because kids now they don't they don't receive that type of instruction. I feel it's like, and it's kind of it's like a catch 22, right? I feel like there's benefit from it, but if you yell at a kid, they're going to shut down and then never come back. And then, okay, now you don't have a business. So it's like at what
Yeah,
point do you,
we always laugh that like the kids are hugging you,
yeah,
and Hachi's like, hugging, we were never hugging people.
yeah,
And then you got like this 3-year-old kid that's like, oh, let me give you a hug. Let me, hang on your leg. And
yeah,
there's
yeah,
still
yeah.
discipline and structure to it, but I don't think in the 70s they were giving out hugs.
No, no. I remember Sensei Steel telling me that at one point Sensei Rigby came up to him and said, "All right, look, you're going to be the high five guy because I'm not high fiving any of our students." So like, I always thought that was funny, but yeah, it's
And I
so
bet everyone
true.
loved it.
Yes. And they probably would have loved it more if it came from, from the head instructor. But I get it though, it's like there's like a certain persona that I guess, some coaches want to, give off of, but it's cool though. Great. So you mentioned competition. So when your team is training and you guys are preparing for like a local tournament or national tournament or any tournament really, how do you separate that from regular training to aside from competition? Because it is two different things. I mean, let's be real. Because
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So we
how do you
have
guys do that?
we have a specified one time a week class that's just tournament team, where we just focus on agility, speed, sparring drills, kata drills, strength, all of that. We start every tournament team with like a mental mindset.
Love it.
So how can you, like we were saying before, you were saying when you get to the IHOP, get in there and look around and take that pressure off. How can you come back from you look at that score and it's 2-0
Hmm.
and this is your last chance to score 3 points, without being scored on? How do you come back from that mentally without breaking down? How do you come back from going into a new environment that you're not used to?
Yeah,
So we start all of our tournament teams with a mental mindset of here's some ways that we can overcome or get past that. So that's a little different than our normal class wise.
sure.
Um, and I think just more we do speed and agility and all of that stuff in regular classes too. But I think we take a deeper dive when it comes to our tournament team.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's more objective based, it's more focus based on a specific thing. And I'm sure you would agree, like, I mean, the whole purpose of competing is winning, I mean, otherwise, why would you be out there? And yes, I get it, learning, is important, having fun, but ultimately, like, I've never gone out there just to have
Hoping to
fun.
lose.
Yes, and things I'm sure you would feel the same way, but
Yeah, I tell the student, no one goes in and goes, gosh, I hope I lose today. And if you're going in and say, I hope I lose today, you
yeah.
deserve to lose.
For sure, and I believe that the hard work should have already been accomplished, leading up to the tournament because I always found it weird when people would say, "Man, I'm so nervous. I don't know, like I'm gonna do, like I'm gonna mess up." I'm like, "Bro, like or anyone why why are you telling yourself that? Because like
You're
that just
psyching yourself out more.
sure, I mean, I mean, obviously nerves are a natural thing, but it really separates the ones that are consistently winning because to win one time is pretty special, but can you keep winning? I think that really separates that margin. And I love how you said it
For
earlier
sure.
about, when you train for it and you work for it, it means a lot more. It's the folks that can win year after year, year after year. That's when like, wow, like there's
It's the
something there
consistency,
for sure,
right? Even if you're not getting first, are you constantly near the top?
Yeah.
Are you always in the thick of it? And you can't just be good at one. And I know like now people are kind of focusing more like you're just a kata person, you're just a weapons person, you're just a
Yeah,
sparring person. But I think you have to do all three to be a good martial artist.
I agree.
You can't just focus on one.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like the one thing that you do that I was telling my students about that I like is when you go and you do seisan, right? Which in Ishinru is the first form,
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
basic, and everyone else is doing Sun Tzu, the highest level form,
Yep.
and you're winning with seisan because if you have the basics and if your kata is good and you're doing seisan, you can win with seisan.
Yep.
It's not what kata you do; it's how you do it.
Oh yeah, I do that for a specific reason, and I don't even remember like how that even actually I do know. So I was at the Hall of Fame one year and I said, you know what? Next time I'm gonna do Seisan. Win or lose, it's all good. But I said to myself, if I can do that in the Grand Championship or like in any division, I want to send a clear-cut message that, and like you said, doesn't matter what kata it is. So no, it's cool that you kind of like you picked up on that because I do
Yeah,
that for that reason. Because I want everyone to know, like, doesn't matter if it's Seisan because everyone thinks you got to win with the advanced katas like Kusan, Kusan, and Su. No, if you have a good Su and Su, you should have a good Seisan. I don't understand the difference. Like, no, like, oh, my Seisan sucks. But okay, so you're telling me that you can do a great Kusan Ku, but you can't do a good Seisan? It's,
you
it's
can't
still
just have one.
for sure,
One kata they work on, but yeah, the same. I have a couple of my black belts that do seiyuchin.
Love it.
And there was a comment on Facebook a couple years ago from the IHOF, and someone had commented like, why do Seiyuchin? Because you don't win with Seiyuchin. You have to do a higher level form for the judges to be impressed. And I commented back, well, this person won.
Yeah.
So that's not the truth.
Yeah,
The truth is if you have the foundation of it and it's good, it's good.
for sure. Yeah, it
Yeah.
like doesn't matter what kata. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Now speaking of Ishinru, what's your favorite kata if you had to
My
pick one?
my go-to is Sun Tzu. Now that we ragged on Sun Tzu, no,
No,
that was
no.
my Sun Tzu is my favorite one. I just think because it takes it takes a lot of strength.
Yeah,
It's more built for someone who's got a strong, legs and arms. So I
yeah,
think I look better in that than I do, doing a Kusanku.
sure.
And I'm
Well,
not
what's
sure my Kusanku will ever look spectacular, you know.
no, I've seen your Sun Tzu. It's sharp, and that was also Master Shimabuku's kata as well. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cool how that all plays in there. So awesome. So kata, kobudo, and kumite, and I like how you mentioned and again I might have missed it, but you subscribe to your students doing all three events or having them pick like a couple that
No,
they
all three.
all three?
Yep, I
Yeah.
tell them all the time, do all three
Yep.
because you can't be well rounded just doing kata. You
Yeah.
can't be well rounded just doing cobra. You can't be well rounded just doing kumite. If you
Yeah.
want to be a good karate practitioner, you better be good at all three. That doesn't mean necessarily you're winning at all three, but you better go out there and at least try.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was a moment and like I can be vulnerable here and as well meaning that I growing up I did all three. I trained all three, but when it comes to tournaments when I found out or like when I know that I'm going for the grands, I always save my body for that because one thing that I wish tournaments would do is kata grands first and then the sparring. That
Yeah,
would be so
yeah.
much better. And I know, that can be a whole discussion like, oh, like it shouldn't matter. It does because if
You're
I'm
tired
getting
out. You're getting beat up.
exactly and like I can have I feel like I have a compelling argument with that, but I also feel like, oh, well, the old school way would be like, no, just do all three and just, go win regardless because the best person's going to win. Like, okay, but if you're saying the best person's going to win, if I'm sparring you and you bang me up, whether I win or lose, I can't give 100%, for the finale. So I wish
Yeah, and
some
I've seen that men's sparring. I tell everyone I'm happy to be in the women's sparring division because
it's crazy.
the
Like,
men, not that the women are great too, but never have I been anywhere where a woman is like
yeah,
punching each other hard as you can in the face,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or intentionally trying to bang someone's body up. The men's division sometimes they're
It
testosterone filled
it's brutal.
craziness.
It's brutal because last time I sparred in Tennessee was 2019. I think I was a fifth degree, so I was in the third to fifth degree bracket, and I had and my first match. So that's when India came, that huge contingency,
Yeah, yeah,
and my first match was a guy from India, and I'm like, oh man, it's pretty dope. And I've never sparred anyone from India, and
yeah.
then again, it's almost like imposter syndrome. You're like, all right, like I know I'm good, but man, how good am I? And I just taught myself basics, and I end up and it's no diss to him, but I end up beating him 5-0. Then I won the next three matches and won. I'm thinking, wow, like I can like Tennessee's not as bad as I thought, but I mean it still sucked, but it's like, I
But
can
you
do
won,
this,
so it sucked less.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, I mean, how do you know if you don't actually, go out there and try? Um, and same thing with our students. We're like I say, do what you feel is going to make you happy and ultimately feel comfortable, but 90% of the time they're like, no, if we spar in class, I want to spar at the
I want to
tournament.
sport. Yeah.
Yep, and it only makes sense there, so it kind of transcends like throughout the each tournament and even as they progress for sure. um cool. So Kim, so I know you're a black belt. What degree black belt are you now?
I'm a fifth in Ishiru. I hold the first degree black belt in Ruku Kobudo,
Yeah.
and I'm a blue belt with three stripes in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
No, that's awesome. So let's kind of dive into your jujitsu now because
Yeah.
I know the old school karate guys would be like, no, you can't do jujitsu. Here's the funniest thing. People say, like, oh, I would never take the fight to the ground. I think that's a great approach. However, What do you think it
Almost all
does?
fights end up on the ground.
Yeah. So, how was your first introduction to jujitsu? And was that something that you wanted to do? Did you, I don't want to say feel pressure. Did you feel like as an instructor, like, no, I should probably know a little bit of something of this. So if questions arise.
Yeah, so I'm lucky in the fact that Hanshi Carmona is also a Japanese Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Yeah.
So growing up, we had a lot of exposure to Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, which is, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is more of the sport of it. Japanese Jiu-Jitsu has katas to it.
Yep.
It has etiquette to it. But same principles. An arm bar is an arm bar.
Yep.
A wrist lock's a wrist,
Agreed.
you can't reinvent that wheel. But I was pretty exposed to it. I always liked doing it. And then when I went over to Pure, I was there anyway, and they have a very large women's only program.
Nice.
So once a week I train in open class, and once a week I train in their women's only program. So I was just like, oh, it's after my class, why not do something, a little different? So I said, oh, Hanchi, do you mind if I take jujitsu? He was all for it.
That's awesome.
So now we trade off ideas. What I learned in class, it's oh, here's what I did. And then he's like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. And then he shows us the Japanese jiu-jitsu side of it, or, the katas that they have that lead up to the same move. We get to the same place, just a different approach.
Yeah, and just gives you more of a more of a I guess unique perspective now because you can offer that and teach that, when you're showcasing any type of self-defense. And we talked about it earlier, if fight's going to go to the ground, that's when jiu-jitsu comes in. If it's standing, karate for sure.
Yeah, but even standing, I don't think people realize there's jujitsu in karate.
100%,
100%. Every
distance
bunkai, what
management.
do you think that is?
What's that?
That bunkai arm bars. What do you think that is? The
Jiu-jitsu.
jujitsu.
Yeah, for sure.
Wrist lock. Oh, what do you jujitsu? You
Yep.
getting thrown? Jujitsu.
Hmm.
Judo. So I don't think people realize how there is quite a bit of jujitsu in
Yeah.
karate.
Yeah, the mindset behind it. And again, like if people don't know, they don't know, but because we study in, different arts, we're a little bit more open mind and more in tune with it though, for sure. But yeah, 100% correct. And guys, bunkai, if you don't know, it's the application of the moves. And bunkai is a great way to really deep dive into the techniques that you're learning.
You need bunkai.
I,
Doing
I
doing it without application is you just punch in the air.
I agree. I
You got
agree.
to know what you're doing.
So Kim, moving forward, what's next for you and what's next for your academy? Like what do you guys have on the horizon coming up?
Yeah, so we have a tournament, the Dale Jenkins Memorial Tournament coming up in November. That's
Nice.
going to be at Pure, so we're gearing up for that. Um, I think same old. We've expanded our location to a second location, so been focusing on doing that. So just consistently doing what we're doing, I think.
Very cool. So just staying busy, just training, of course, and like always moving forward. I think that's the cool thing about what we do. You got to have goals. If you're just doing the same thing, yeah, like it can be fun, but you got to have something to, constantly strive for.
To work towards, yeah.
That's awesome. So, before we exit out, do you have any final, I don't want to say statements or remarks, but how about this? Any shout outs do you want to give specifically to the viewers out there?
Shout outs. I'll shout out Pure. I mean,
For sure.
go follow them on Instagram
Yeah. Yep.
and Facebook. I'll shout out Hanchi, Carmona. I was telling the kids I think I'm lucky. I think you might feel the same way. I'm lucky to have an instructor all this time. That's tough
Yeah.
because I think he's made me better than I could have imagined. And I think your instructor made you better than you hoped for.
Yeah.
And I'm just lucky to have an instructor that pushes you. And even though sometimes it seems hard,
Hmm.
every student thinks that about their sensei.
Yeah.
It seems hard that they're pushing to make you a better person, a better martial artist.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And you mentioned about where people can find you. So you guys are on Instagram. What's your guys' handle?
So mine is at Pure Karate,
Okay.
and then Pure is at Pure MMA NJ, like New Jersey.
Awesome. Yeah. So guys
Yeah,
listening, if you haven't already, go ahead and give them a follow. Kim is located in New Jersey, and I would strongly encourage that if you're ever in the area, make sure you guys give them a visit because you have a great instructor, great competitor with an excellent mindset. So
I
Kim, I
appreciate
want
it.
to absolutely, Kim. I thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time. And all the best to you. And I promise next time that we connect, we'll get a chance to actually converse in person.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to do it for you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.